Good afternoon, Doc. Good afternoon, classmates. I am Alamada Rohana, and today I am reporting the measure of variability. So first, let us know or define what is the measure of variability.
What is measures of variability? Measure of variability describe how the sets of observation are dispersed, scattered, or measure the degree to which are spread out or clustered together in a distribution. So, it is a measures the degree to which the scores are spread out or clustered together in a distribution. So, ang measure of variability ay minimeasure niya kung gaano kalayo or kalapit yung mga scores or given data. And the measures of variability are namely, or this is the way to describe variability in dataset. Namely into range, quartile deviation, average deviation, variance, and standard deviation. So now, let's take a look what is the range is calculated by subtracting the lowest value from the highest value. While a large means a high variability, a small range means low variability in a distribution, or range is the amount between your smallest and largest item in the set. Quartile deviation. The quartile deviation is based between the first quartile and the third quartile in the frequency distribution, and the difference is also known as the interquartile range. The difference divided by 2 is known as quartile deviation or semi-interquartile range. When one takes half of the difference or variance between the third quartile and the first quartile of a simple distribution or frequency distribution is the quartile deviation. Average deviation. The average deviation is part of several indices of variability that is used by statisticians to characterize the dispersion among the measure in a given population. So, the average deviation of a set of scores is calculated by computing the mean and the specific distance between each score and that mean, without regard to whether the score is above or below the mean. It is also called an average absolute deviation. Variance is a measure of variability. It is calculated by taking the average of squared deviation from the mean. So, variance tells you the degree of spread in your dataset. The more spread the data, the larger the variance is in relation to the mean. Since the unit of variance are much larger than those of a typical value of a dataset, it's harder to interpret the variance number intuitively. That's why standard deviation is often preferred as a main measure of variability. However, variance is more informative about variability than the standard deviation, and it is also used in making statistical. Standard deviation. The standard deviation tells you how tightly your data is clustered around the mean, like the average. A small standard deviation indicates that your data is tightly clustered. You also have a taller bell curve. A large standard deviation tells you that your data is more spread apart. This is the example how to get the range. So range is obtained by getting the differences between the highest score and the lowest score. This is the steps to find the range. Step 1. Order all values in your data set from low to high. And the second step is subtract the lowest value from the highest value. I have here an example. There are two sets of scores with the same mean, and the mean is 53.25. The sample A is less scattered because it is a homogeneous class, and sample B is spread wider since it's heterogeneous class. These two sets of scores have the same mean but different dispersion. So now let's find the range of these two sets of score with the same mean.
This is the sample or the two sets of scores, the sample A and the sample B. These two sets of score has the same mean. It is 53.25. So first, we are going to find the range of sample A. So, like what I said recently, to find the range, the first step is to arrange the number or scores into lowest to highest. So, for that, it's easy for you to identify the lowest number and the highest number, or the lowest score or the highest score. So now, let's find the range of sample A. So, this is the formula of a range. Range equals highest to subtract to lowest. So now, the lowest score or number of sample A is 40. So this is the lowest score, the 40. And the highest score of sample A is 60. This is the highest score. So now, let's write the highest score, 60. So this is 60. Then, subtract to the lowest score, 40. So, subtract to lowest score, 40. So now, let's subtract. 60 minus 40 equals 20. So, this is the range of sample A, 20. So, this is the range. And now, let's find the range of sample V. So, what I did also on the first step on the sample A, arrange the score into lowest to highest, or arrange the number into lowest to highest. So now, this is the sample B. So, now let's write the highest score. So, this is the highest score, 75. So, let's write 75. And then, subtract to the lowest score or lowest number. So, the lowest number of sample B is 20. So, now let's write 20. 20. So, 75 minus 20 equals 55. So, this is the range, 55. So, the sample A, it is the scores of homogeneous class. So, the range of the homogeneous class is 20. And in sample B, this is the scores of heterogeneous class. So, the range of heterogeneous class is 55. So, the two sets of number that A and B has the same mean, the 53.25. But they have the same mean but different dispersion, because this is the sample A or set A. So this is only the dispersion of sample A and sample A, because this is the lowest score and this is the highest score. The reason why it is small dispersion, because that the result of the range is lowest. It is 20. And in sample B or set B, the dispersion is bigger than set A. So this is the dispersion of set B. This is the lowest score, the 20. And the highest score is 75. And the range of set B or sample B is 55. So this is the range. So, class, this is the way on how to find a range on a number or a score.
Next example is quartile division. So quartile division is another measure of variability which divided the difference of the third quartile and the first quartile into halves. This is the steps in getting quartile division in a form of frequency distribution. Step 1. Estimate the frequency lesser than. Second step, find the third and first quartiles. And the third step, compute quartile division by using formula 6.1. To apply the formula of 6.1, we have here an example on the table. The computation of quartile division in a form of frequency distribution of the assessment of student learning tool. Test by taking by 50 teachers education students. So this is the sample of computation of quartile division in a form of frequency distribution of assessment of student learning tool test.
taking like 50 teachers, education students. So, like what I said recently, there's a step in getting uh, quartile division in a form of frequency distribution. So the first step is to estimate the frequency lesser than, and the second step is to find the first quartile, and the step 3 is to compute the quartile division using the formula of 6.1. So now let's go to the class limit. So the class limits, the score or number has a 5 differences. So each number or score has a 5 differences. And the frequency, the total of frequency is 50 because they add all numbers of frequency like 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2, and the total is 50. So 50 is the frequency. And now let's go to the cumulative frequency lesser than. So the cumulative frequency lesser than is highest to lowest. So in the first item, the cumulative frequency lesser than is 50, followed by 47, then 42, and then 438, and then 33, then 27, and then 18, then 12, then 8, then 5, the last is 2. So now, let's find the third quartile. So the third quartile, we can find to the fourth item. So the class limits of the third quartile is 80.5 minus 85.5. And the frequency is 5. And the cumulative frequency lesser than is 38. So this is the third quartile, this line. And now let's go to the first quartile. So in the first quarter, the class limit is 65.5 minus 70.5. And the frequency is 6. And the cumulative frequency of lesser than is 18. So this is the first quartile. So this line is the first quartile. First quartile. So class, we already know the third quartile and the first quartile. So this is the way on how to find the quartile division in a form of frequency distribution.
Third quartile denoted by Q3 is the median of the upper half of the dataset. So this means that about 75% of the numbers in the dataset lie below third quartile, and about 25% lie below third quartile also. Or it is the central point that lies between the median and the highest number of the distribution. This is the way how to interpret the quartile result, because generally the data is arranged from smallest to largest. So first is the first quartile. The first quartile is the lowest 25% of the numbers. So example of fourth quartile is 1/4. So what is the 1/4 of 100? So it is 25%. And number 2 is the second quartile. So the second quartile between 25.1% and 50% up to the median. So the example of second quartile is 1/2. What is 1/2 of 100? So the 1/2 of 100 is 50%. And then the number 3, the third quartile. So the third quartile is 51% to 75% above the median. So the example of third quartile is 3/4. So what is the 3/4 of 100? So the 3/4 of 100 is 75%. And the last is the fourth quartile. The fourth quartile is the highest 25% of numbers. So what is the 1/2 of 100? So the 1/2 of 100, it is 100%. So this is the way how to interpret the quartile result.
This is the third quartile computation. So the third quartile computation is the same as the 75 percentile or 51% to 75% above the median. So, this is the given. So, I will explain to you kung saan nanggaling yung yung given ng third quartile. So, this is the first given. The third quartile or 3n over 4 equals 37.5. So, class, I will explain to you later where did I get the 37.5 or kung paano ko siya nakuha. First, I will explain to you kung saan nanggaling yung lower real limits. So, the lower real limits is nanggaling siya dito sa table. This is the lower real limits is ito, yung 80.5. So, and then the class interval. So, the class interval is yung differences ng numbers or score. So, ang differences ng number or score is 5 because 95 then 90. So, 5 is yung class interval natin. So, kaya ito, nakasulat siya yung 5. And then, to the sum of cumulative frequency lesser than is, nakuha siya natin dito. Ito, 33. Sa cumulative frequency lesser than ng table. So, this is 33. So, ito siya. And then, yung frequency of median class is nakuha natin siya dito sa frequency ng third quartile. It is 5. So, now, let's go to the 37.5. So, class, like what I said recently, ang third quartile ay 3/4. So, ito siya. Write 3/4. And then, the 100. So, class, what is the 3/4 of 100? So, the 3/4 of 100 is 75%. Ito siya, 75. And then, i-multiply natin siya sa 50. So, the percent of 50 is 0.5. So, we're going to write 0.5. And now, let's multiply the 75 times 0.5. And the answer is 37.5. So, ito siya ang third quartile. The 37.5. So, this is the way kung paano ko nakuha yung 37.5 sa third quartile. This is the third quartile computation. And this is the formula. So, third quartile equals lower real limits plus class interval. And then, so the third quartile or 3n over 4 subtract to sum of cumulative frequency lesser than. And then divide it to the frequency of median class. So, this is the given na in-explain ko kanina kung saan nanggaling yung mga given. And now, we're going to solve the given. I-solve natin yung binigay na given using the formula of the third quartile. So, first, copy the sign of third quartile. And then, equal. So, the lower real limits is 80.5. This one, the lower real limits. And then, plus the class interval. So, our class interval is 5. Ito siya. And then, the third quartile or the 3n over 4 natin is 37.5. So, isusulat natin siya dito. And then, subtract to the cumulative sum of cumulative frequency lesser than. So, 33. Isusulat natin yung 33 dito. And then, divide it to frequency of median class. So, it is 5. Ito siya. Then, equals, copy again the lower real limits, 80.5. 80.5. Then, plus to the class interval. It is 5. So, write 5. And then, subtract the third quartile to sum of cumulative frequency. So, 37.5 minus 33 equals 4.5. So, write 4.5. 4.5. So, our class interval and frequency median class are the same. So, i-cross natin siya. I-cross. And then, copy again the lower real limits, the 80.5. So 80.5. Then plus 2, the answer of the 37.5 minus 33, it is 4.5. So copy the 4.5. And then add the add the lower real limits and the plus interval and the 4.5. So 80.5 plus 4.5, it is 85. So this is the answer, 85. So this is our third quartile, the 85. So this is the formula to get the third quartile.
First quartile, denoted by Q1, is the median of the lower half of the dataset. This means that numbers in the dataset lie below first quartile and about 75% lie above first quartile. Or it is the middle number that falls between the smallest value of the dataset and the median.
So, ito yung first quartile natin. First quartile computation. So, ito naman yung given ng first quartile. So, gaya ng kanina, I will also explain where did I get the n over 4 na 12.5. But, before that, I will explain to you where did I get the lower real limits and also the class interval, the sum of cumulative frequency lesser than, and also the frequency of median class. So, first quartile is the same as the 25 percentile or the lowest 25% of numbers. So, first, this is the given. So, the lower real limits ay nakuha natin siya dito sa class limits ng table. So, ito, the 65.5. And then, the class interval is nakuha rin natin siya dito. The differences of scores and number is 5. So, ito siya, 5. And the sum of cumulative frequency lesser than is 12. So, nakuha siya natin dito sa cumulative frequency lesser than. It is 12. Dito siya ang sum of cumulative frequency lesser than natin. And then, to the frequency of median class. So, the frequency of median class is nakuha siya natin dito sa frequency. So, ito siya, 6. So irasulat natin dito and 6. So, now, I'll explain to you where did I get also the 12.5. So, the first quartile, it is 1/4 because it talks about the 25% of the numbers. So, this one. So, write the 1/4. 1/4. Then, the 100. 100. So, class, what is the 1/4 of 100? So, the 1/4 of 100 is 25%. So, 25%, i-multiply natin siya sa 50. So, the percent of 50 is 0.5. So, 25% times 0.5. So, it is 12.5. So, ito, ang 12.5 ay nandito sa sa first quartile natin or sa n over 4. So, ito yung paraan kung paano ko siya nakuha yung 12.5. This is our first quartile computation. So, this is the formula. The formula is first quartile equals lower real limits plus class interval. And then, copy the first quartile or n over 4, subtract to sum of cumulative frequency lesser than. And then, divide it to frequency of median class. So, class, this is the given. So, na-explain ko na kanina kung saan nanggaling or saan nakuha yung mga given. So, now, let's solve the given using the formula of third quartile. So, first, copy the sign, the Q1. And then, equals to the equals. And then, write the lower real limit 65.5. And then, plus class interval. So, our class interval is 5. And then, the Q1 or n over 4. So, the 12.5. So, write 12.5. Then, subtract to sum of cumulative frequency lesser than. So, it is 12. Write 12. And then, divide it to class to frequency of median class, it is 6. So write 6. And then equals, copy again the lower real limit 65.5 and then plus 5, the class interval. So 5. And then we are going to subtract the 12.5 minus 12. So it equals to 0.5. So 0.5. Copy again the frequency of median class. So divide frequency of median class is divide to 6. And then copy again the lower real limit 65.5 plus plus then plus. So where did I get the 2.5? So I multiply the 5 multiply to 0.5 and the result is 2.5. So write 2.5. Then copy the frequency of median class. So 6. So plus 2.5, divide it into 6. So the answer is 0.4167. So this is the answer of the 2.5 divided into 6. And the next is add the 65.5 plus 0.4167 equals 69.92. So this is the answer of first quartile. 65.92. This is our first quartile. So now this is the computation of quartile division. So this is the formula. So the formula is quartile division equals third quartile subtract to first quartile and then divide into 2. So this is the given. Ito yung given ng quartile division. So nakuha natin yung given dun sa mga results ng the third quartile at first quartile. So the result of third quartile is 85. So ito yung answer kanina ng sinolve natin. So ito siya. The third quartile is 85. So 85. And then yung first quartile natin ay nakuha din natin kanina dun sa sinolve natin na first quartile. So it is yung 65.92. So ito siya, 65.92. So class, isosolve natin siya yung given na binigay gamit yung formula ng quartile division. So first, copy the sign of quartile division, the QD, and then equals the number of the third quartile. So it is 85. So write 85. And then subtract to first quartile. So our first quartile is 65.92. So write 65.92. And then divide it into 2. Divide into 2. So first subtract the 85 minus 65.92 equals 19.08. So write 19.08. And then divide it into 2. So 19.08 divide 2, it is 9.54. So this is our answer, the 9.54. So this is a quartile division, is 9.54. So this is our final answer.